Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen, and this week we are doing a live stream watch along commentary for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, or simply Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. uh, this here is my Blu ray gruesome edition. They did have one after that. From Scream Factory, which has the really cool cover. But I do have that poster of this Scream Factory cover, and that is signed by Bob Elmore, the late Bob Elmore there, who played Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, as well as Bill Johnson, of course, and Bill Mosley signed that as well. And they also signed the Blu-ray as well. So pretty cool. Yeah, great to have their signatures. I'm a huge fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I absolutely love it. Always have. And it's one that's kind of divisive among fans, it seems. A lot of people don't like the kind of shift in tone where there's a little more black humor in the second film, and there's more over the top gore, over the top kind of acting. Whereas the first one is much more kind of raw and gritty and realistic, and there isn't a whole lot of blood and gore. It's just kind of implied, whereas they show a lot of blood and gore in this one, it's much more colorful. It's much more brutal with the violence and the gore effects. And Tom Savini did the gore effects on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. He also designed the Leatherface mask in part 2, which is awesome. I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for his work on Texas Chainsaw 2 because he did some great work. But yeah, we're going to be watching it on my Blu-ray, and we're doing a watch-along commentary. So get your remotes ready because we're going to get this bad boy started, and we're going to have a lot of fun today. I'll be doing plenty of imitations on this because it's an infamously and endlessly quotable film. It's nonstop with the lines, the one-liners and the zingers and the oh man, it's film is such a blast. Starring the late great Dennis Hopper, Caroline Williams, Bill Mosley, and yes, Jim Seidow from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the only original actor to appear in the sequel from the first film. Hey, we got Mr. Dan and Horror in the chat. Are you serious? You still haven't seen it? You gotta be kidding me. Oh my god, you have to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Come on, man. Get on that. All right, so we're gonna get this started. All right, got the MGM lion there. Let me turn this volume down. I don't want to get taken down. And yes, this is from Cannon Films. Cannon Films had a lot of great films, especially in the 80s. Was the peak. They did a lot of cool stuff. Did a lot of horror stuff, did martial arts stuff, and they continue with that opening crawl that they did in the first one, which was voiced by John Larroquette. On the afternoon of August 18th, 1973, 5 young people in Volkswagen ran out of gas on a farm road in South Texas. 4 of them were never seen again. The next morning, one survivor, Sally Harst, is picked up on a roadside, blood-caked and screaming murder. Sally said she had broken out of a window in hell. The girl babbled a bad tale. A cannibal family in isolated farmhouse chainsawed fingers and bones of brother. Her friends hacked up for barbecue chairs made of human skeletons, and she sank into catatonia. Texas lawman mounted a month-long manhunt could not locate the macabre farmhouse. Officially on the records, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre never happened, but during the last 13 years, over and over, reports of bizarre, grisly chainsaw mass murders have persisted all across the state of Texas. Texas Chainsaw Massacre has not stopped. It seems to have no end. And then we start with this awesome score. I love the score to this movie. It's amazing. Not only that, but it has a great soundtrack as well. Great kind of like punk rockish soundtrack track with the yeah. It's got like Oingo Boingo on there, and it's got the Cramps, that song that was famously used on the Wednesday TV series. When Wednesday did the big dance, that kind of went viral. Uh, that song was featured in this movie first. What's the name of that song? Googaba, Googaba. And the second film was directed by Tobe Hooper, so he did return for the sequel. And of course, he didn't want to just rehash the original. He wanted to do something a little different, so he injected a little more humor, which is something he wanted to do with the original movie. Apparently, he envisioned it as like kind of a black comedy, but it didn't turn out that way because it's very much a grim, raw, brutal horror film. You don't, I don't get any humor out of it really, not very little. But the sequel, there's plenty. Especially with the Chop Top character played by Bill Moseley. Such a great character. And in this film, the family is given a name where they didn't have a name. Nobody knew their names or who they were in the first film. Here they are called the Sawyers. Bubba Sawyer is Leatherface, and Chop Top Sawyer. And then you have his name was just the cook in the first film. They never said his name, but Jim Seidow returns as the cook, but he has a name. His name is Drayton Sawyer. And here we have the opening with a couple of dumb college preppy kids raising hell, shooting mailboxes and street signs and just acting ridiculous. Bunch of drunk ass jocks. And then we meet Stretch, the radio DJ for KOKLA, played by Caroline Williams in the film. She does such a great job. One of my favorite final girls in horror. She's very, very likable. She's kind of a little bit rock and roll. She's just cool. Just sexy. And very, very resourceful in this film. She actually chases the killers in one scene. She like goes after them. How often do you see that? She's not just a damsel in distress, but she willingly like puts herself in harm's way. And these idiots call the radio station messing with Stretch. I want to hear bright lights and big titties. And they decide to play chicken with this truck, this pickup truck on the road, and yeah, they picked the wrong people to mess with. Because in that truck is Chop Top and Leatherface. And this is certainly the film I think that put Bill Moseley on the map. And famously, there was an unreleased kind of spin off of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 called All American Nightmare, I think it was. If you guys watch Christian Hanna's horrors show, Planet CHH, he did a video about it recently, about how I think eBay was going to release it or something, because they have the footage of the whole thing, which is crazy. That's pretty wild. It looks kind of, and it did star Bill Moseley returning as Chop Top, and he's like the main killer in the movie. It just looked kind of super cheesy. I don't know if I ever want to see the light of day, really, but I am always disappointed that they never followed up this film in Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. I was expecting a sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, and it is not. It's just kind of its own thing. It doesn't follow the events of the first two films, really. Even though Caroline Williams does make a tiny little cameo as a news reporter. I don't know if that's supposed to be stretch. I know she wanted to be a news reporter in this film. That's kind of her wish. So she did kind of finally become a news reporter in the third film. It's just a small little cameo. Not enough for me. I want it to be a full-on sequel to Texas 2 because I love Texas 2. So right now they're realizing they mess with the wrong people, and now the pickup truck is messing with them. And out pops this crazy looking figure on the top of the pickup, which looks like some kind of walking corpse. Which apparently is Nubbins. Yeah, they gave the hitchhiker from the first film a name as well, Nubbins. Crazy ex-Vietnam vet or something. So this guy shoots at Nubbins' head. And when his head kind of goes to the side, we can see that it's actually Leatherface holding the dead body up and dancing around with it. And he's waving this gigantic chainsaw, which I've never seen a chainsaw this long. I know it's some kind of symbolism. It has to be phallic symbol. They got the biggest chainsaw in the world. It's like literally 6 foot long. It's crazy. And their pickup is literally driving backwards as fast as the other car is driving forward. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of silly at the same time. Why couldn't they just back off, back up, spin around, and drive away, the other way? But they just keep driving forward, and they're driving back. Like, there's no other cars on the road at all. But it's a movie, folks. We have to suspend our disbelief. So Leatherface just chopped the driver's head, the top of his head, right off. It's the top of his head just slides off, and blood spewing and spurting out of his head. It's crazy. The other dude on the passenger side is just screaming and trying to shoot at them. freaking out, and they've got this all on the radio station tape. They're taping this the whole time. So they're live on the radio getting killed, basically. You can hear everything on the radio because apparently Stretch couldn't, hang up on them. Like, I've never heard of such a thing. You can't hang up if the customer doesn't hang up, or the guest doesn't hang up. Like, why can't they just hang up? They controlling the radio, aren't they? I just always thought that was funny. Like, what? She's telling them to hang up. Hang up, hang up. You're tying up the line. Like, why can't you just hang up on them? Like, if every guest you had on a radio show, you couldn't hang up on them, it would be crazy. So anytime someone wanted to just keep running their mouth, you could just let them go, and you don't have to hang up on them. You can't hang up on them. Here we meet Lieutenant Lefty Enright, played by the great Dennis Hopper. And he's on the hunt for the Sawyer family because his brother's son got killed by this family, by the crazy cannibal family known as the Sawyers. So his nephew was Franklin, the one that was in the wheelchair in the original film. So yes, this does continue the events from the original film. Got his uncle, Franklin's uncle, on the hunt, and he's a police officer trying to hunt down this crazy cannibal family who murdered his nephew. And Sally, of course, is also his niece, Sally Hardesty, but she did actually survive, and I don't know if she went to the insane asylum or something. There's really no mention of her other than that opening crawl. And he's speaking with the local police on the scene of those kids that just got killed in the car, the preppy kids. And of course, Lieutenant Lefty Enright feels that this is connected to the Sawyers. It has to be. It looks like a chainsaw killing. But the other guy's like, no, you're crazy. Get out of here, you kooky old nut. But of course, he's right. But they just kind of blow him off. They threaten to expose him for being a, you know, crazy old buzzard. But Stretch from the radio station has the tape of the kids getting killed. So she tracks down Lieutenant Enright to his to where he's staying at the hotel. He says, I'm willing to help you. I got this tape of them getting killed. This must be some evidence, right? And she knows that the police don't believe him or don't give him any kind of credibility. She's offering to help. And he just like, nah, I can do this on my own. I don't need you getting in the way. Don't you get in my way. I got a perfect willingness to die. That gives me a moral on this bunch of mad dogs. He's crazy in this movie. He's so over the top, and it's hilarious. But I love it. I don't think he cared for his performance in this film, but to me, I love it. He he didn't care for this film, and he didn't care for his performance in it at all. But he's wrong because he's awesome in this movie. I think it's one of his best roles, his most memorable roles. I love I love everyone's accent in this movie, especially Stretch, played by Caroline Williams. I can get your tape out there, get people to believe you. They live on fear. They thrive on it. I ain't got no fear left. She just sends her packing. The one girl that could help him. But she's taking a huge risk, releasing that. I mean, that was live on the radio waves, so people heard it. The fans of her show heard all that craziness. So that puts her at risk, doesn't it? And obviously that comes into play. So Stretch is now at this chili cook-off, and she's covering it kind of as a reporter with her cohort, her co-host, LG, who's like madly in love with her, but she just kind of brushes him off. He's kind of a dim-witted. He's sitting there making a French fry house, a house made out of French fries. Like, dude, how long did it take you to do that? The Texas Oklahoma chili cook-off. And they're about to introduce the winner, who you may recognize as none other than the last rolling grill chef, Drayton Sawyer. Played by Jim Seidow, returning from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre film way back in 1974. One of the greatest horror films of all time, in my opinion. And he's just amazing in that, and he's amazing in this too. He's hilarious. He's great. This year, you gotta tell us the secret of that fabulously tasty chili. It's all in the meat. Don't skip on the meat. I, this town's got a great eye for prime meat. And then the lady tastes something hard, like she's clanking her teeth on it. And he's like, whoop, whoop. One of them hard shell peppercorns. It's like someone's bone or someone's tooth or something. Just what is that chili made out of, huh? It's more than just prime meat, if you know what I'm saying. I love this scene. Cut Right Chainsaws, a store that just sells chainsaws and nothing else. I never seen such a thing. Is there such a thing as that? Like, not a hardware store, just a store that sells nothing but chainsaws. So Lieutenant Lefty Enright wants to fight fire with their own weapons, using them against them. I love the owner of the store. Hilarious. Fletcher ain't none of my business. Now you are getting just about as mean as a stingbat, Sil. Now don't you call back. I'm running a business here. Lefty goes into the room. There's chainsaws hanging on the wall everywhere on the ceiling. Just lays out a big stack of cash, about, I don't know, maybe $1,000. He's got this big 4-foot chainsaw, and then he grabs a couple little ones, and he's got them strapped on a belt, like freaking utility belt, like Batman. He's got, or a gunslinger with, two little chainsaws. It's hilarious. And the store owner is just looking at him like he's batshit crazy, which he is. Like I said, fight fire with fire, using their own weapons against them. Like he's not. He don't need to bring a gun. He just wants to bring his chainsaws. There's gas in them. Hit them suckers a time or two. He just starts whacking at this big log. And the dude's staring at him like, "Oh, back, Kipper Santa." Like, this guy is nuts. It's hilarious. And that's the thing. This movie's funny. Like, this is definitely the fun movie in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. The most fun you will have watching a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie is this one right here. But I'd still say it is still a horror movie at the same time. Yes, there's a lot of black humor, but there's a lot of really dark, really morbid stuff in this movie too. There's really some intense scenes of horror. It's not just fun and games. There are consequences. There are stakes. This family is actually crazy and they will kill you. Now, apparently, Lefty has changed his mind and he goes to the radio station K Okla, where Stretch works, and decides, she wants, he wants her to play the tape on the radio. You know, you got that last tape? You play it on the radio. Maybe the cops will start trying to shut me up and start helping me. Oh, you want to hear it now? I don't think it'd be legal to do. I need your help, Missy. You just figure out a way to do it and do it. It's mighty nice doing business with you. So she's gonna play it on the radio. That's awful risky. And here comes Drayton Sawyer and the last rolling ground up round grill, or whatever the hell he calls it. It's like a little truck where he sells the chili out of. And he's got his big trophy with the chili inside the pot, and it's like spilling everywhere. Drayton's number one. Drayton did it again. And his little brothers are calling him on the phone while he's driving. One of those old car phones with the wire, you know. And they telling him about, that Stretch is playing that on the radio. The kid's getting killed, screaming and getting chainsawed, and and he's freaking out. Oh, you fudge packers, you crow shits. You'll be the death of me. I told you, boys, and I told you. Your little ass is gonna get in big trouble with that tape, girl. LG's yelling at her. Sure got a lot of complaints, darling. Like I said, LG's like totally in love with her. Not so sure whether she loves him back, but I don't know. It's not a romantic movie by any means, so we don't really get into that. But they have kind of a fun, playful little thing going. Some little ZZ Top promotion there. She was wearing the ZZ Top shirt earlier. They got a picture of the ZZ Top album. I think it was Recycler, the big one that had, Give Me All Your Lovin' and all that stuff, Legs and all those songs. That was kind of their big comeback album in the 80s. And this was 1986. So, yeah. ZZ Top was in full swing at that time. The songs on MTV all time. Cause every girl crazy about a sharp dress, man. Psh, psh, boop, boop, boop. Now someone calls her on the phone and no one answers, like what's going on? We know they know. Because they called Drayton and told him about it. So are they gonna try stalking her now? And she knows too much. She kind of exposed them. So, like I said in this movie, she puts herself in harm's way. Obviously, playing that tape on the radio is going to get her in trouble not only by the media but by the killers. You know, they're gonna be looking for you now. You're public enemy number one in their eyes. So now she starts hearing noises going on. She's looking all around the studio. We see there's someone lurking around in the basement there or something. So she goes to check it out. And that's when we meet Bill Moseley in probably his most famous role, Chop Top Sawyer. This crazy nut dude, but he's awesome. This crazy ex-Vietnam veteran who apparently got seriously injured in the war, and he has a steel plate in his head. But it's all exposed in the film, and it's like like he's been eating his own skin, like the steel plate is exposed, but there's all like flesh hanging around it. And he like picks at the flesh with this hanger, with a coat hanger, and he's getting bits of flesh off and eating it during the movie. It's like gross. It's like, ugh, eating your own skin. That's messed up. He's wearing like a bad wig, you know. Music is my life. Maybe I can put in a request and it'd still count, huh? How about that lefty request record you pumped out on the radio today? I love that. Let's see, how's it going? Eh, ah! Was that the Rambo 3 soundtrack? And he lights the coat hanger with a lighter, you know, to make put the heat on it to scrape the skin off, I guess. He kind of reminds me of the hitchhiker in the first film a little bit. He's got a similar kind of like scar on his face as the hitchhiker in the original film. And he plays off of that a little bit, but it's more like over the top. It's creepy as hell though. But he's like this hippie too. He's got like buttons, all kinds of like the tie-dye shirt with the buttons on it, you know, of like different like rock bands and stuff like that. He's got the necklace with like teeth on it and stuff. It's such a weird, it's a weird look, but it's really cool. He really stands out, and he's got these like purple sunglasses. It's a unique look, and it's very like I was thinking I would love to see like NECA action figures for Texas Chainsaw 2. There's so many possibilities, you know, chop top with all the different accessories. You could have like the coat hanger and the he uses a straight razor at one point, you know. You could have like the wig, you know, have him take the wig off and without the wig, you see his steel plate. You could have the buttons on him and the vest. And of course, you could have the Texas 2 version of Leatherface, which is different than a lot of the others. He has like a black, full blown tuxedo on, and and then he has another look where it's kind of similar to the original with the apron, the butcher's apron, and he has a hatchet, and You could do two different versions of that, and you could do Lefty with the chainsaws and the, and the double-barreled chainsaws, and the cowboy hat and the. You could have Stretch could be one. That'd be awesome. And he finally exposed himself as one of the killers, of course, and Leatherface is there. He's chasing after her now. Leatherface looks kind of dapper there with his full suit. He's got a. Like I said, I love Tom Savini's work. The mask is just sick, man. You could just see the flesh. Really sick looking. Even underneath, you can see his eyes, and you can see this like prosthetic makeup on his face underneath, even. With the, of course, they got the bad teeth and the crazy-eyed look about him, of course. From what I've read, it was kind of almost like a Steve Dash situation where the guy, Bob Elmore, says he did 90% of the work, and Bill Johnson maybe did like 15% or something. 10%. Chop Top's reading the record section, going through all the records and taking them out and tossing them around. Going through all the 45 records and throwing them around. Music is my life. Leatherface is hacking at the steel metal door that she locked herself in this room. They live on fear. They live on fear. She's repeating to herself what Lefty told her earlier. They live on fear. They thrive on it. And I love this scene coming up because she uses psychology on Leatherface, to get in his head, kind of very resourceful. And we know that Leatherface isn't too tightly wrapped. He's not exactly. I don't think he's exactly a Rhodes Scholar. So I think he's easily influenced, even though he's psychotic. But he's susceptible to influence. And you got this pretty young girl, getting inside his head. Then LG comes strolling in with his coffee that he bought for a Stretch, and he catches them, and the killers are there. And Leatherface busts in, knocks him down, and Chop Top has a hammer and starts wailing away at his head. And like I said, that's some of the difference between part two and the rest. This much more bloody and gory and brutal. They show the whole thing. He's whacking at him constantly with the hammer, and he's hemorrhaging, and he just keeps whacking away, and he's laughing hysterically. It's crazy. Incoming mail. Leatherface goes back for the girl. She's just kind of in the room, terrified. She may be resourceful, but she's still scared to death and screaming, no. And then we see the camera kind of scroll around the room and kind of focus on this one area. You know what's going to happen. It's kind of, this part's very predictable as the camera's kind of swerving around the room and focusing on that one area of the wall. You know what's going to happen. Leatherface is going to smash right through the wall right there. And he does. Cuts a big hole in the wall and smashes through it. And there's this big tub of beer, and ice. And he's kind of like running the chainsaw through the ice, and she's kind of crawled up in the corner, and her legs are spread out over the case of ice thing. And it becomes this weird kind of sexual moment, very disturbing, but and here she starts using the psychology, it's like, how good are you, she, she just kind of like makes a pass at him, like getting in his head, how good are you? Are you really good? Are you good with that chainsaw? How good are you with that chainsaw or something? And it's like, and he starts putting the chainsaw between her legs, and he's getting off on it, Like, creepy, man. It's creepy. And the scene's very, very intense, very scary, and it's this weird, morbid kind of psychosexual thing going on with the chainsaw and like I said before, it's like a phallic symbol, and it literally is that for him. His chainsaw is like his manhood, and I think that's kind of what Tobe Hooper is going for in this movie, especially in the scene. It becomes a very like weird kind of thing. He's rubbing the chainsaw against up and down her leg, and her leg is wet from the ice, and it's very weird and sexual kind of. And then she's just playing into it like, are you really, really good? Leatherface is just like licking his lips, and puts the chainsaw right against her and is like starting to rev it up, and she's like freaking no. It's awesome. And he's revving it up, and she's freaking out. And he starts freaking out. And he's tearing the whole place down, hacking everything up with the chainsaw, basically destroying the entire radio station, taking everything out, all the glass and all the radio equipment and everything. I mean, they're just trashing this whole place. So I don't know how they're gonna do a show after this. After they destroy the whole place. No good. No. And he's like pumping his hips with the chainsaw. Leatherface, you bitch hog. Look what you did to my Sonny Bono wig. Look what I got here. A bonus body. Did you get her? Get her good? Slap me 5. Look at that beef. One for the fire. You're going to get a good meal out of that guy. As we know, they are cannibals. And here's the part where I was saying, where she actually goes after the killers. So the killers, you know, grab LG and take him, load him in the truck, and they take off in the blue pickup. And she's like running out after them. Let's see. She gets in her little Jeep and drives after them. Who does that? Are you crazy? They almost killed her, right? And she's chasing after them. I guess she wants to find out where their hideaway is. Because she has aspirations to be a real reporter. So she wants to get the scoop and find out where they live and obviously contact the police and tell them, where they live. And apparently they're hiding out in this some kind of amusement park called Texas Battle Land or something. I don't know what it is, some kind of a tourist attraction, or I don't know what it is really. Some kind of museum about Texas, or I don't know. But that's their hideaway. It's obviously abandoned, long abandoned, and they're just like living there. And they live literally like they got this whole thing decked out and it's underground and that's where they do all their dirty business with the cannibalism and where they take all their victims and hack them up for barbecue and make Drayton Sawyer mixes chili out of them, out of their victims. And apparently people like it because he won the contest. Apparently humans are quite tasty. I hate to be morbid, but sometimes I think that, what if if you ate a person, would it be tasty if you cooked them up nice? Yeah, we are a little morbid here on the horror corner. But sometimes I wonder that, if you cook them up, if you cook the person up like steak, would it taste good? Would it be like deer meat or something? Not that I'm gonna do anything like that. I'm just saying. Just talking out of my ass. But there are cannibals that exist in the world. People have killed people and ate them, and there's some sickos out there. There are some sickos out there that are just like the Sawyer family in real life. We've seen that. A lot of serial killers were cannibals, like Jeffrey Dahmer and stuff. That ate their victims and cooked them up, and there are nuts out there that are just like the Sawyer family. Obviously, Leatherface is based off of Ed Gein, real life serial killer. Some people thought that the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was real, like it was a lost found footage film or snuff film or something. Obviously, it was not. It was just a movie. She literally falls into the layer, the underground layer. Lefty shows up trying to help her. But there's this trap door that opens up and she falls down and she literally goes down this slide into a bunch of skeletons and bones and skulls and then Lefty comes out with all the chainsaws like it's the devil's playground. Show me what I fear, Lord, so I don't fear it no more. And he's ready to attack. Bring it all down. Down to hell. Bring it all down. But they got this place all decked out with like Christmas lights and skulls and bones everywhere, cobwebs everywhere. I love the atmosphere. But man, it's like a grisly work of art almost with the bones hung up on the ceilings and Lefty sees this painting on the wall and there's like blood coming out of the wall and then he like smashes the wall and all these like guts come out. It's gross. So yeah, lots of gore in this film from Tom Savini. Lots of blood and gore. It's almost like the difference between the original Halloween and Halloween 2 from 1981, where Halloween 2 showed the blood and some gore, and where the original Halloween kind of relied on the scares and the thrills. Um, Halloween 2 kind of went for it sometimes, and went for some of the blood, and Halloween 2 is much more of a slasher movie. And that's kind of like how Texas Chainsaw 2 is. It's showing the blood and the gore where the original didn't. Just kind of implied it with the atmosphere. It felt grim and grimy, it felt brutal and nasty, and you can see what's happening. They are brutally killing these people, but we don't actually see the blood. But this film, you do, very much so. And there's another one of my favorite scenes coming up here where Stretch runs into Leatherface once again. And he's got the butcher's apron and he's doing his job. You can see the people's limbs hung up on the ceiling and that's where he does his dirty work. He's the butcher of the family, of course. He's got the hatchet and he's cutting up the bodies, and you see a dude's arm hanging out. Peel that pig and slice him thick. They're ready to cut up LG now for the barbecue. Throw him in the crock pot. And he's got this little handheld saw, and he literally saws the dude's face off. He's peeling his skin off, pieces of flesh. It's nasty. It's really, really morbid. The scene it was just messed up, man. And you see him take off the dude's face and hold it in the air and like hanging on the hook. It's sick, man. It's sick. I'll never forget when Christy kind of bursted in while I was watching. My wife bursted in the room while I was watching this particular scene. She just like, "What is wrong with you? There's something wrong with you that you're watching this crap." That's how you know it's good when you pissing people off when you watch it. And he's cutting off pieces of his flesh and hanging it on the meat hooks. Oh, oof, really morbid stuff. So, like I said, the film is not just fun and games. There's some really serious horror in the film. And Drayton Sawyer bursts in. "What are you doing, boy? What are you trying to hide? You trying to hide something?" And he just holds up the dude's face, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I see." But Stretch is there, kind of hiding behind. And he does catch her. At first, he's like, he's gonna hack her with the hatchet, and then she's like, "No, no good. You're not really mad at me, are you? You're not really mad at me." Once again, she's trying to play with him, get inside his head, using psychology on him, and he falls for it. He's like, he kind of has a thing for her or something, and he kind of goes to reach out to her, play with her hair, and his hands are covered in blood. And she's like, "Ugh," you know. And again, he kind of grabs at her face a little, and then he takes LG's face and puts it on her face. Sick, man, so sick. And he starts dancing around with her with the dude's face on her face. Puts his hat on her head, and he's like swirling around, spinning her around, dancing with her. It's just crazy, crazy stuff. I think in his head though, he's got some really bad intentions for her. What he wants to do with her. He really wants to do some crazy stuff with her. I can't even imagine what's in his mind. A lot of people don't like um, his portrayal of this version of Leatherface. This version is a little bit different than Gunnar Hansen's portrayal, and a little. I mean, yes, it's the same character. It's still Leatherface. He's the butcher of the family. You can tell he's the one that worked in the slaughterhouse, as the cook. And he still is that here, but there's we get a little bit more insight into the man behind the mask. Like he's a little bit more sympathetic. We can tell that he's just basically doing what his family tells him to. That he may not necessarily believe in what they're doing so much. He may not. He has some kind of humanity in him. I don't know how much, but And maybe some people don't like seeing that. They just think of him as this psychopath that's just a killer and a butcher and a Ed Gein like psycho, you know. They don't want to see the humanity in him, that there is a human being there, and that this movie just kind of shows that a little bit. But and he may be a little bit dim-witted, you know, which I could see a little bit of that in the first movie too, you know. So I just feel like this continues that a little bit, you know. I enjoy this version of Leatherface. I think there's still a lot of the originals in there, but maybe he's putting a little bit more of his own spin on the character. That's a little bit different, but it's still Leatherface, you know. I enjoy it. And I like this little thing that he's got going with Stretch here. It's interesting. Like, what is he gonna do with her, you know? Like, maybe he wants her as his girlfriend, but I think there's a little more to it than that. Like, God only knows. And then we see that LG is actually still alive after all this. After getting his face ripped off and pieces of his flesh taken off, getting his head bashed in many, many times with a hammer, and dude's still freaking alive. We see him get up, he's got no face on, and he's still trying to help Stretch, though, because he loves her, you know. Like, we gotta get you loose. She's all tied up. Leatherface ties her up, and he grabs a butcher knife and cuts the rope. She's like, LG, they got you too. Oh, LG. But the effects on him was sick. You could see his rib cage and awesome work from Tom Savini in this movie. You can see he's got no face. You can see pieces of his skull coming through and the flesh hanging off. You know, it's nasty, man. He's like, I'm falling apart on you, honey. And we could see he is dying though, and he's like, oh, he tries to grab to her. Oh, and he just like, oh shit. But he did cut her loose, so she's free now. And she takes off the face and puts his face back on him where it belongs. And it's really sick looking. Oh, it's so gross. Gives him his hat back, you know, kind of giving him, let him die with a little bit of shred of dignity, you know. Kind of giving LG a little bit of a nice kind of send off, I guess. And at least until they hack him up for barbecue, you know, before they make the LG stew. Well, unless Stretch foils their plans, of course. So now she's loose and she starts kind of creeping around the lair to see what the hell's going on, what the hell they're doing. Like I said, the The set design is wild, man. You got just works of art made out of all the skulls and bones, and see it embedded in the walls. You see skulls and bones and all kinds of cobwebs and fog and Christmas lights, and it's weird. It's a macabre work of art. It's a macabre work of art, I would say. Hmm. And we can see the roofs. The roof is collapsing, and dust, and because Lefty's cutting down the support beams of the house, and we see the roofs caving in, all the dirt coming down, and then we see Lefty bring it all down, bury the devil. I'm taking him down to hell. May the Lord have mercy on their soul. And the cook is freaking out. He's like, some saboteurs fucking up our house. Oh, millions of dollars lost. And he's blaming the boys, Chop Top and Leatherface. You're sawing down your own house. Ah, the small businessman always gets it in the ass. Now I'm flashback. Now I'm flashback. Freaking Chop Top's zany as hell. Go check it out, boy, before I start kicking your asses. And he does. He kicks their ass, like gives them a kick in the ass. It's like the Three Stooges or something. He's like Moe, like beating up the other dudes. You got the Iron Butterfly album. In the Vita to got a baby, it's heavy. We got Carter Bean in the house joining us in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Horror Corner. And we are watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 if you're just joining us. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. We are doing our live commentary on this bad boy, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Love this film. As I've said, it's divisive among the fans, it seems. Some people love it, some people hate it, A lot of people don't like the change in tone, that's kind of got a lot more black comedy in there, and some people don't like that where the original was so deadly serious. How did they get Franklin? Yeah, there's Franklin. He found him. His rotten corpse is sitting there on the wheelchair with the flashlight, which Lefty knocks into him, and the flashlight burns out. He's like, I'll avenge you, my brothers. LG was murdered in real life by a crazy person. Oh, you mean the actor was killed? The actor was murdered that plays LG? I didn't know that. He's actually in the commentary on this the gruesome edition. Is that so, huh? No kidding. Early 2000s, someone broke into his house and stabbed him to death. Huh, very interesting. As you can see, this underground layer is just massive. It's huge. It's like some kind of I don't know, tunnel is like these tunnels that go on forever. And you see they've got it decorated with lights and all over the skulls and bones everywhere, bodies everywhere. It's still amazing they kept Grandpa alive all these years. Yep, Grandpa does make an appearance in the film. Grandma too. And Leatherface caught her, And he's trying to catch her, and he's chasing her all around with the chainsaw. This scene's kind of similar to the original when Leatherface is chasing Sally down through the fields, and it goes on for like 15 minutes. Yes, the original poster art I love when it's like, going off of the Breakfast Club, like a recreation of the Breakfast Club with the uh with the characters of using the characters of Texas Chainsaw too, of course. I love it. Recreating the poster of the Breakfast Club, yeah, that's classic. Nothing against you, I just can't do this. Yeah, that's right. You didn't know that? Yeah. Take a look at the movie poster for the Breakfast Club, and then look at the original poster of Texas Chainsaw too. They're all in the same positions and stuff. Even the dead body of Nubbins is is laid out on the floor. Are you the saboteur that's fucking up our house? Thousands of dollars lost. You got that kind of money? So they all catch her, and Chop Top and Leatherface and Drayton are all yelling at her. And this is the set. This is the classic line. Bubba's been playing with her. Bubba likes her. Bubba's got a girlfriend. Hey, Rob, how you doing? We got Rob's Nightmares in the chat. What's going on, man? Big fan of Rob's Nightmares and Rob's channel for many years. So, guys, if you have not subscribed to Rob's Nightmares channel, definitely subscribe to him. And he loves Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. You got one choice, boy. Sex or the saw. Sex is, well, nobody knows. But the saw, The saw is family. Leave him alone, damn it. You're supposed to finish her. Finish her now. Burn her like a rat. Burn her like a rat. Yes, probably the one connection in part three was on the chainsaw. They put inscribed in the chainsaw says the saw is family. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been, huh? Just taking a break. Leatherface couldn't do it. He couldn't kill her. He wants to keep her. Wants to keep her as a play toy. Yes, they chrome plated everything in that one. Dennis Hopper swinging around the chainsaws like they are nunchucks, yeah. He's almost like a gunslinger with his little belt with the double chainsaws. Look at this grisly work of art at the dinner table here. Like incredible, like the set design, you know. So macabre. And yes, here they recreate the dinner scene from the original film, you know. So this film does play a lot of homage to the original film, you know. So I don't understand why people hate it so much. Like I love this movie, you know. It does its own thing, yeah. It adds a little humor, but there's still plenty of nods to the original, and you know, it is actually continuing the story. At least it has some continuity. Where, whereas you want to talk about continuity in the Texas Chainsaw the Massacre franchise, it's an absolute mess. It's all over the place, you know. At least this film like continues from the last one, you know. Carter Bain says, "Did you know that scene where he bought the chainsaws and hacked up that piece of wood at the chainsaw store? They still have the chainsaw store sign inside of that business." Yeah, I did know that because someone I work with actually went to that site, you know, and yeah, they took pictures of it. Yeah, it shows the cut right chainsaw sign on there. I think it's the restaurant or something. But yeah, I did actually know that because someone I work with went there and visited it, that site of the original Texas Chainsaw, as well as the place where part two was filmed. About to bust out Grandpa. He was the best. Oh, he was the best. The quickest killer in the West. Yeah. Until they came out with the air powered hammers and put him out of business. Then there was the shame. They got Stretch at the table, you know, tied up, you know. They got Grandpa. They're ready to. They're giving him the hammer, ready to. The plan is to hammer her and knock her out and kill her. But they want Grandpa to do it, who's barely alive. You know, he's like 1,000 years old. Stretch was a sexy mo effer. Yeah, she was. Bring her on down, damn it! Leatherface is like, calm down, calm down. He's playing with her. Bring the bitch down. You got this metal bucket, same as the original, they're literally recreating the dinner scene from the original film. Only it's a little bit more kind of played for laughs a little bit. Help me, please. She's screaming her brains out. Leatherface is trying to make out with her. She's just losing her shit, man. Can you blame her? I mean, look at this madness. You got their brother Nebbins there sitting at the table, his dead corpse. Oh, it's playtime. It's dinner time. We see Grandpa like moving around a little bit. I've seen the behind the scenes of this. So that was actually a young guy playing Grandpa. It's just all makeup, prosthetic makeup. It's awesome. Yeah. It's actually a young, like 25-year-old dude or something playing the old man. It's awesome. It's awesome makeup job. Again, Tom Savini and his crew. Amazing work on this film. Yeah, never gets enough credit. He keeps trying to hit her, and he can barely grasp the hammer. He keeps dropping the hammer. They put it back in his hand, but you can tell he wants to. He's like, yeah, give me it. He's getting into it. Like, yeah, what a bear. He wants to, though. He wants to bash her brains in. It's just madness. It's absolute madness. He gets a little bit of blood on Chop Talk's coat hanger, and he's looking at tasting the blood, and he's getting all hyped up. Dude's like 170 years old. I think this guy was a little more lively than the one in the original movie. Like, he barely moved at all, from what I remember. He's got a little bit of life to him in this version of Grandpa. Grandpa, let's get on with it. Drayton just grabs a hammer, smashes her, knocks her out. Like, oh, the house is coming down, and Lefty makes his big appearance. Like, what? What's that? You can hear him singing, I'm the Lord of the harvest, bringing in the sheep, bringing in the sheep. Chop Top's singing along to him. He's crawling through this, like, sewer vent or something. Here we come rejoicing, we're bringing in the sheep. Equipped with 3 chainsaws. Got the big chainsaw and the 2 little ones in his belt. Bringing down a man's home. What's your game? Who sent you? He thinks it's just some competitor that came to his house trying to Sabotage his business. Who sent you, huh? A chicken shit burrito man? Well, it's a dog-eat-dog world. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the damn kitchen. He's got a big stack of bloody money. Any money in it, you want to know? Trying to bribe him. I don't care who sent you. He's got a big stack of money there. Apparently he does all right with the last rolling roundup grill. And he sees Stretches there. They got her prisoner. You boys never should have been doing this. Grabs the saw and starts it up and cuts Drayton in the sack and the hams. Right in his balls. And now they're having a big chainsaw battle. Him and Leatherface are going at it with the chainsaws, like sword fighting with chainsaws. It's epic. Remember, the secret is fresh peppercorns. And Stretch just kind of runs off, going through the tunnels, and Chop Top Quarter. So she's fighting with Chop Top, and they're running off. He's chasing her down the hallway. Looks like Leatherface is getting the better of the battle. He's obviously the stronger guy. Now they're fighting on the dinner table. And Drayton's sitting underneath the table. It's all businessman. Always gets it in the ass. From a far out fan. You got him sign is it the soundtrack album, the score? I know they just came out with that recently. They score like a special edition version of it. The record. Ugh, sure burned my bean sack on that one. Looks bad. Oh, I see. That's cool. Ah, got Leatherface right in the gut with the chainsaw. Oh, split his stomach open. He's still alive, though. Like, come here, Nubbins. He grabs the dead corpse of the hitchhiker from the original. And he's got a grenade on him. Because he's a former Vietnam vet, I guess. Love the makeup effects there. And Leatherface's gut split open. You can see the chainsaw and all the way going through his body onto the other side. And it's still running. It's still going. And he's still alive. He's still trying to fight with the chainsaw, swinging it around. I like weird items signed. I'm going to get Pinhead to sign a Rubik's Cube one day. I got Doug Bradley's autograph as well. He signed my NECA figure of Pinhead, and I got the Hellraiser poster signed by him and Ashley Lawrence. So yeah, met them both. How big is this layer? This underground layer. It's just huge. Go to Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky every year. Nice. I'm going to Connecticut Horror Fest this year, next month actually. I can't wait for that. Maybe a lot of good people there. Dee Wallace is there. Dick Warlock from Halloween 2 played Michael. Oh, the old man finally hit the hammer, but he hit Leatherface with the hammer. He falls down and the chainsaw went through the table and got Drayton Sawyer underneath. So it's presumed. And he drops the grenade, and then we see the grenade goes off. We hear the explosion, but Stretch is still fighting with Chop Top up on this platform that leads to outside, and there's like some kind of tower outside, and there's this kind of man-made bridge going to the tower outside, and he's still fighting them, and he's chasing her, and he's got a razor, and he's slashing her back up, and there's huge steps leading up to the tower outside. I only have enough for 3 or 4 to sign. Yeah, same here. I have to go on a budget. I can't just get everybody's picture and everybody's autograph. And I got to be selective and work on a budget. So I'm definitely, my main agenda is Dee Wallace, getting a picture with her, get her to sign my Howling poster, and hopefully, and there's Grandma. Yes, Grandma makes an appearance. So her corpse is there inside the tower, and it's kind of a shrine to her with all these skulls and bones everywhere. So yeah, Grandma's in the film. And I'm not sure whether she's still alive or not. So they fight with Stretch, and that's the big finale in this kind of weird tower with Grandma, and Grandma's sitting there in the chair with the chainsaw. Oh, thank you. Yes, welcome, welcome. Good talking to you too. Thanks for joining me in the chat here. And thank you for Rob's Nightmares joining us in the chat today as well. Go sub to his channel too. He's got a great channel. He's hilarious dude, Rob, I love Rob. It's like death eating a cracker, isn't it? Chops Tup's got the straight razor, and he's slicing his own neck, cutting his own throat, and just laughing hysterically. Get away from her! She's trying to grab the chainsaw away from Grandma's corpse. And we do see Grandma's head kind of moving around a little bit, like maybe she is still alive. If she was, I'm sure she's dead now. You killed her, you hog bitch! He flips out and he's cutting her with the razor, cutting the shit out of her back. A Stretch is there trying to start the chainsaw. Would a chainsaw, like, how long has that chainsaw been sitting there? How would it possibly start again? Maybe it's full. I guess it's full of gas. It still works. Starts it up, and she swipes at his belly, cuts him in the gut, guts him, and he falls off the tower down back into the layer where the grenade goes off. So, and then she's sitting there with the chainsaw, triumphant, swinging around, dancing around with the chainsaw, and voila, that is the end. So, we don't know, did they survive or what, but obviously there is a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 and 4 and many, many more sequels after this that whether they're sequels or not, it's kind of debatable because the timeline is just all over the place in this franchise. And you had Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Part 3, which doesn't follow the events of this, but Leatherface is still alive and he has a new family. Now they list Joe Bob Briggs in the credits, but his scene was cut out in the movie, so he was supposed to be in the movie, and there is a deleted scene with him. So if you watch the making of featurette, it shows like his scene, his deleted scene, because Joe Bob Briggs was supposed to be in the movie. So checking out the making of Texas Chainsaw 2, and you'll see that there's a lot of deleted stuff that would have made the film even more gory, with limbs flying all over the place and crazy stuff. But like every movie, you gotta cut it for time, or cut some of the gore because you gotta get an R rating. You don't want an X rating, so they can actually release it in theater. And it was released in theaters, and it wasn't really a huge hit, but it did make a profit. It was like 4 million something to make the film, and it made like 8 million, so it wasn't exactly a hit, but it wasn't a bomb either. Goo Goo Muck, performed by the Cramps. Yeah, I love the soundtrack to the film, and I love the score, so I definitely want to get the soundtrack and the score. The soundtrack itself, I think, is very hard to find, but they did just release the score recently, like a remastered version of it. So the score itself is not hard to find, but the soundtrack is. It's got music by the Cramps and Oingo Boingo and Concrete Blonde. A very unique soundtrack, and I love it. I love it. And the score is brilliant as well. Love the opening theme song, is just amazing. Yeah, great, great music. Great job once again by director Tobe Hooper coming back, and he doesn't come back ever again in the series. I think he might have helped produce the remake, but that's about it. That was the end of his work on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. So it was great that he came back and directed the sequel. Say what you will, but I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 personally. It's one of my favorite horror sequels of all time. I've always loved it since day one. Right when I saw the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time, I went and immediately watched the sequel, and I loved it right from the get-go. My brothers didn't really love it, but I loved it. It's one of the things that got me into horror was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, and part 2 is where I started becoming a huge horror fan. It all started with Friday the 13th Part 2 was the first horror film that I ever saw, and then I went and saw the original Halloween. It scared the crap out of me, but I was enthralled by it. I was excited by being scared. Got some kind of weird thrill out of it, and that's how I became a horror fan. And Thank you guys so much for joining me today in the horror corner with this watch along of Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. So if you missed the original show, catch the replay on YouTube. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the horror corner. Tune in and stay scared. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace out. Thank you for joining me for the stream today. Thank you so much.